Hi, I'm Katie from Barn2 and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about how to set up a complete website for a restaurant with a fully functional online food ordering system. It will be similar to this one where you've got all your foods listed on the page. Customers can choose quantities, tick which foods they want, choose different options, and add them to the cart, all from a single page. So it's really, really easy for people to buy and view your foods, and then they can complete their order. They can choose when they want it to be delivered, right down to the date and time, and they can pay online. You can charge them taxes. It's a fully functional e-commerce system. We're going to do it with WordPress, which is a free content management system that gives you full control over your website, so that you can edit all of the information on it. You can add your food products, create pages, everything without needing to edit any code or need any technical know-how. And we're going to use WordPress with the free WooCommerce plugin, which is the world's leading e-commerce platform, and it also doesn't cost anything. It's going to be significantly cheaper than using a third-party food delivery system such as Uber Eats or Just Eat or something like that, because with those options you have to pay commission for every single food order you receive forever. With this option, you'll use the free WordPress and WooCommerce as the basis for your website, and there'll also be a few paid options, paid plugins and a hosting service that you need on top of that, but that will be significantly cheaper, many times cheaper than paying commission for each sale. So I'm going to talk you through what we need. We need WordPress and WooCommerce, as we've discussed. We also need a hosting platform which will physically keep your website on the internet and make sure it's always available online to your customers. In this tutorial, we're going to use Kinster, which is a managed WordPress host, and it makes it really, really easy for you to manage your website, install WordPress. It backs it up regularly. They've got good support. It's just a really good, easy option for you, and it's what we use for all of our websites and our clients at Barn2. So you'll need to sign up to one of Kinster's plans to actually keep the website online. And you'll also need two paid plugins that will sit on top of WordPress and WooCommerce to add the extra features you need. You'll need the WooCommerce Product Table plugin, which is one of our plugins from Barn2. And you can see that it lists your products within a table layout. So this layout that we saw for our online restaurant ordering system is provided by our WooCommerce Product Table plugin, which works alongside WooCommerce itself. And in addition to that, you'll want the WooCommerce delivery slots plugin by Iconic WP, because that is what allows users to choose a delivery date and time for their online order. And that's pretty essential for restaurants, because if you're ordering takeaway food or something, you need to know when you're going to receive the food. And from your perspective as the restaurant, of course, you need to know that people will only order when you're open and when you have the capacity to send that order. So that's why you need the WooCommerce delivery slots plugin. So now I'm going to tell you how to combine those elements to create a complete website, and you will watch me literally doing this on a website of my own in 50 minutes. So you can see that I can set it up in 50 minutes without missing any steps, and so that you'll be able to as well. I hope you enjoy it. I'm now in the Kinster dashboard, which is our hosting company, where we're going to store the website so that it will remain online. To do that, I'm going to go into the Sites section of Kinster and click Add Sites. And this is literally creating the web space where the website will live. I want to install WordPress. If we're going to have a custom domain name like myrestaurant.com or whatever, then you would enter that here. I'm just going to use it with the default Kinster domain name, so I'm going to skip that bit. I'm going to call it My Restaurant and choose where you want to host it. That would generally be the country that you are in. So I am in the UK, so I'm looking for London. You can host the website anywhere in the world, but it will load quickest the closest it is. So because if my customers are in the UK, if I'm a UK restaurant, then I want to choose the UK data centre, but you could choose any of them and it all costs the same and everything. The WordPress site title will generally appear at the top left corner of your website unless you're going to add a logo. So I'm going to call it My Restaurant. The admin username, that's what you'll use to actually log into the WordPress admin. So I'm going to write my name there. And it's going to create a password for us. So copy the password because you'll need that later when you actually log into the WordPress admin area and start adding your food products and so on. Make sure your email is there. Choose your language. And yes, you do want WooCommerce. That will make it even easier for you. So we'll click yes, we want to install WooCommerce. You probably will also want to install Yoast SEO. That will help you if you want people to find your website on the internet. I'm just creating a test site, so I'm not going to tick that box, but I would have thought you probably would want to tick that unless it's a private website or something like that. And then we click Add Site. The next step is that Kinsta will set up your site, which will probably take a couple of minutes. And when it's finished saying creating, you'll be able to click on it to access the hosting dashboard here. We're not going to do much in here. Just go to the domains tab and you'll see the temporary domain here. Or if you actually have created a live domain, you'll see that instead. As I mentioned a minute ago, I'm just going to use a temporary website address, myrestaurant.kinsta.cloud. If, as you probably do, you want your website to have something a bit more professional than something.kinsta.cloud, then I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. While we're developing the site, we're just going to keep with the temporary domain. So we'll stick with this and we're going to click Open WordPress Admin. If you haven't logged in before, it will ask you to give the username and the password which you gave when you created the install a minute ago. If you have forgotten what that is, then use the lost password option. And once you're in, you'll access the WordPress dashboard. Now, this is the control center for your website. This is the bit that you will get to know and spend some time in creating your food products, the settings for your restaurant, the delivery options and all that. So this is the most important area for creating your restaurant website. First, we're going to go into the plugins section. Plugins are extra features that you can add to your basic WordPress website. You can see that there's 3 plugins. 2 of them just come with WordPress itself, and the other one is WooCommerce, which we ticked when we created the install in Kinsta. WooCommerce is what will power the e-commerce side of the food ordering system, and that's really important. So we're going to activate that now. We're going to click Activate. And when we do that, it will take us into the WooCommerce setup wizard, which looks like this. So this is where you enter the overall settings. And once you do this, tons of stuff happens behind the scenes to make your online restaurant ordering system run as you want it to. So you can enter your address and everything. This is the things that will appear on the kind of the legal bits of your website at the back end and everything. You can choose your currency, and you want to choose whether you want to sell just physical products, whether you want to sell digital products, or both. You're selling food, so I would expect that as a restaurant you will be selling physical products only. And you can also tick, I will also be selling products or services in person. Now, a lot of restaurants will want to tick that box, so I'm going to do it, because if you offer local pickup as well as delivery services, then obviously you're selling in person. So let's go. And it will tell you if you miss any essential fields. So I'll put our company address in here. It will do the usual thing where it asks you whether you want usage tracking, up to you whether you tick that. And then it will go through the setup wizard. The next bit is the payment options. Nearly all online food ordering systems are likely to want to take payment online. Of course, you can just have your delivery drivers take the cash on delivery, and that is an option in WooCommerce here, which you can see at the bottom here. So I am going to enable cash on delivery because that is relevant to a lot of restaurant websites. But we'll also talk about some online automated payment gateways. The easiest to set up is PayPal, which probably all your customers use, so it's easy for your customers and easy for you. So if you have a PayPal account, and if not, you can set one up dead easy at paypal.com. Once you've done that, enter the email address that you use to log into your PayPal account. So in our case, our PayPal address is billing@barn2.co.uk. So that's what I'm adding here. If you want your website to have credit card payments without having to go through PayPal, that's fine too. And I highly recommend Stripe if that's what you're going to do. I'm not going to do that for the purpose of this test, but if you do want to go to stripe.com and set up an account, then it's very easy to set up the Stripe using this wizard here. So we've got two payment methods here. We've got PayPal and cash on delivery. And that's it for setting up the payment methods. Next, we're going to talk about shipping, because obviously a lot of restaurant ordering systems will want to offer delivery services as well as the cash or the local collection. So WooCommerce lets you have a flat rate, and it also lets you set shipping zones. You can get quite as advanced as you want with that, and it's very flexible. So I'm going to keep it simple and assume that my restaurant delivers throughout the UK, and I'm going to charge £5 for delivery. So that would just charge a flat fee of £5 for every single order. I'll talk about shipping zones a little bit later, because of course a lot of restaurants only deliver to particular postcode areas or towns or that kind of thing. So, or you might want to charge different fees for different locations, which is fine too. So for now, we'll just have a flat rate for the whole of the country. And of course, it doesn't matter what country you're in. This works worldwide, so you can choose US or Germany or whatever country you're in. You probably could ignore the bit about product dimensions because you're selling foods, but if it's relevant, you can use it. I'm disabling this option here because it's locations not covered by your other shipping zones. I'm a restaurant, so I probably don't want to charge I don't even want to allow orders from people that are outside of my shipping zone. So we'll disable that option, and that's fine. Then we'll continue through the setup wizard. A theme controls the design for your website. I like the storefront theme. It comes from the same company as WooCommerce, so you know it's going to work nicely forever. It's a nice, clean, modern design. You'll see in a minute, and it's sort of relevant to anybody. But if you want to source your own WordPress theme, that's absolutely fine. And I'm going to ignore the Facebook and MailChimp options for now. But as you get more advanced, then you can set those up too. I'm going to ignore Jetpack as well. That adds some more features, but we're trying to keep it simple for now. And now we want to start creating products. But I'm going to create some categories first. So let's visit the dashboard. This is back to the WordPress admin where we saw a minute ago. I'm going to go to products and then categories. There's a lot of restaurant ordering systems have multiple categories of products on the same page. So for example, you might want a one-page food order form that has sections for starters, mains, desserts, and so on. And if that applies to you, then a good way to do that is with categories. I'm just going to dismiss a few things because this is to do with what we selected in the setup wizard. So we'll get rid of all that. And then we are going to create some categories. So let's do starter, add new category. It's easy to create categories. So I'm on products categories, and you add a name like mains, ignore the rest, that isn't needed. And then we'll do dessert. Of course, you can create whatever categories you want that are relevant to your foods. Typically, you'd create categories that reflect the sections on your menu. So if you've got a paper menu, which you almost certainly do, that's divided into starters, sides, kids, whatever, then you'd probably want to set those up as categories. So I've got 3 categories here, and now I'm going to add products to those categories. So let's go to products, add new, and we need to create a product for each food item. I'm going to create a couple to get you started, and then you can add as many as you want in your own time, of course. So let's do a starter, which can be bruschetta, if I can spell, bruschetta. You can add a description if you want. And then that is a starter. Normally with something like bruschetta, you wouldn't be adding options, so I'm going to keep it as a simple product. That means it's just one product, no options, and it's always the same price. So let's add a price for that. So we've just added the title, the description, which is optional, and the important bit is that you add a price. You could also add a product image if you'd like to. A lot of online restaurant ordering systems do add a product image, so you can do that. I'll show you how to set it up with and without. So for now, that's how simple it is. We've just added a couple of fields for the product. I selected the starter category and then we click publish. Next, we want to go to our next product, add new, and let's add a pizza margherita. And then I'm going to go mains. This time I'm going to do something a little bit more complicated, which will allow you to sell different options for each product. So for that, we want to go to the product data drop down here where it says simple product by default, and we want to change it to variable products. So with variable products, we want to select attributes. Now with attributes, you can set them globally under products attributes, and that's a good idea if you're going to be using the same options for more than one product. Like let's say that you have size, small, medium and large for all your pizzas, you might want to add that under products attributes, and that's a kind of more central way to manage it. Whereas if your options for a product are unique to that product, then you can create it here on the same page, product data attributes, and just click custom product attribute add. So I'm going to do a size option and I'm going to write small, and then you do that vertical line thing, large there. I'm going to tick use for variations. That's really important because it means that the attribute you've just added, which is how you store size information for your pizza product, it will allow you to actually create options to charge different amounts for small and large and so on. So we click save attributes and then we go to the variations tab, which is immediately underneath. So we're going to go add variation and create variations from all attributes and click go. There'll be a warning, just click OK. And that will create the attributes, so the variations. So we now have a variation that is small and a variation that is large. You can even add separate images for each one if you want, but usually you probably wouldn't do that for foods. So let's say it's $9.99 for small and $14.99 for large. So all I did there, I ignored all this stuff. I just added a price for each variation and then click Save Changes. And we want to make sure we've selected a category. Yep, we have, and we click Publish. So that is the process for adding products. As you saw, there's lots of options, but you actually don't need to use many of them unless you want to. I mean, you can do, like product tags, for example, is useful for adding like vegetarian, for example, or gluten-free, which I realise that pizza margherita probably isn't, but that's okay. And so you can add things like tags, you can add images, you can even add multiple images, but we're keeping it really simple. Just title, description, the price. If it's a variable product, you need attributes and variations, each with their own prices, category, and you publish it. So the next step is for you to add the rest of your products. So I'm going to pause the video for a moment and add some more of my own, and then we can come back and continue displaying them in a proper food order form. Now I've added all my foods as separate products. The next step is to create a page where we're going to actually sell the foods from. So it will look a little bit like your paper menu because all the foods will be listed in a table with the name of the food, an image if you want one, prices, and add to cart options. And we're going to do that with the WooCommerce Product Table plugin, which is one of our own plugins here at Barn 2. And I gave you some links in the description below the video so that you can get that plugin. So once you've bought the plugin, go to Plugins, Add New, and we need to upload the plugin. So when you bought it, you would have received a zip file of the plugin by email. So I'm assuming that you've saved this to your computer, as I've done before doing this video. So I'm going to click Upload Plugin, choose File, and I've got that here. So it's WooCommerce Product Table.zip. So that's what you receive a download link to by email when you get the plugin. So we're going to go Open and Install now. And once it's installed, you click Activate. And you've activated the plugin. We can now scroll down and click on the settings link, and that will take us straight to the plugin settings page. The WooCommerce Product Table settings page is where you'll set up the options for your food order form. So you'll choose what information you want to display about the food and how you want it to work, basically. Since it's a premium plugin, you have to enter the license key, which you received when you bought it. So that would have been in your email along with the download link. So paste in your license key and click Activate. The page will then reload and confirm that your license key is active and valid. So that means the plugin is going to work on your site. Next, you can customize the design of it if you like. That's the way your foods are listed. So we're going to go down to the table content section and choose what information we want to display about our foods. I want to show the name of each food. You can show the WooCommerce short description, but when I set the products up a minute ago, I just entered the main description in the big white box, and that's just description. So I've removed short, so I've just got name, description. I want to show the price, and I also want to show add to cart buttons. So we'll keep it at that. I'll skip through some of the options because we're just focusing on the ones that are relevant to selling food, but of course you can configure as many of the options as you want. So for product links, I'm going to type none in this box. A product link basically means that when people click on something like the name of the product, it will take you through to a separate page for each product. That is nearly always not appropriate for a food order form. You might want to use it, it's entirely up to you, but typically I'd say you probably don't want a separate page for each food. It's just more for you to maintain and check and everything, and keep it simple. Just list the foods in a one-page order form, as I'm going to show you how to do, and don't have links going anywhere else other than to add to the cart, of course. So product links, I've typed none in the box. If you have a lot of foods that you're going to load all on the same page, then you'll want to tick the lazy load option. Caching will help to speed it up, but while you're experimenting, leave caching unticked, because sometimes caching means that your browser will remember an old version of the list of foods and you want to see the latest information. So leave caching unticked, but remember to tick it later when you're ready to go live. You can choose how many appear on each page, but we'll ignore that. You can choose how the foods are sorted, but more importantly, add to cart button. I would recommend checkbox because that means that when the foods are listed, people can tick to say which ones they want, and that's a much quicker way to buy multiple foods, and it helps the customer, encourages them to buy more. So I'd go for either button and checkbox, so they can click an add to cart button, or they can tick a checkbox to add multiple foods to the cart, or just checkbox only. You probably want quantity selectors because that allows people to order more than one of each dish, which you would nearly always want with an online food order form. The variations option is important if you are adding options for your products using the variable products that I showed you a minute ago. So for a food order form, you'd normally want drop-down lists in add to cart column, and I'll show you what those look like in a minute. So that allows people to choose the options like small and large or whatever from a drop-down and then tick the add to cart box. When you've enabled the add to cart checkboxes, there's an add selected button, which basically adds all of the selected foods straight to the shopping cart. So you can have that above the table, below, or both. I'm going to put it below. You can choose what it says there as well. Now we've got product filters. I want to add some custom filters because I'm using categories and tags, as you saw when I set up the products earlier. So I want to add filter drop downs above the list of foods. So to do that, I'm going to write categories, and then I'm going to do a comma and tags. And that will add both of those as drop downs above the list so that people can choose more easily what they want. And I'm also going to hide a few elements because WooCommerce Product Table can be used to list all sorts of products and lots of different products in a table. And some of the options are not relevant if you're just showing a few foods within an order form. So I would hide page length, probably hide the search box because most restaurants don't have so many foods that you'd want a keyword search. Hide the number of products in each one. That'll do. And hide the reset button. So keep it really simple, and we'll see why in a minute. It's a really nice, simple way to list your foods. So I've clicked Save Changes. Next, I'm going to create a page to list my products on. To do that, I'm going to Pages, Add New. And this is just how you create any page in WordPress, so you can create lots of other pages too. But this is going to be our for food ordering page. So let's call it Order Food Online. So that's the page title. And I'm also going to add a shortcode to a page. And this shortcode is provided by the WooCommerce Product Table plugin. I'm first going to tell you how to list all your foods in one table. So that's basically one order form that won't be divided into sections. And then afterwards, we're going to make it a little bit more advanced, and let's create a different table for the starters and the main courses. So first of all, to list all of them, you do open square brackets, then type product underscore table, close the square brackets. We're using the storefront theme, as I mentioned earlier, which under document page attributes, it lets you choose a page template. And if you've got that option in whatever theme you're using, I generally would recommend the full width template, although it's not essential, because that gives you more room to list your foods and it just generally works better for the order format. So now we're going to go publish, and let's have a look at the page. I'm going to open it in a new tab, just so that we can quickly go back and edit it in a minute. So here we've got a page listing our foods. So we've got all the foods that I created while we paused it a minute ago, with prices for each one. It's a good way to check if you've made a mistake, because I see that with this pizza, there's no price showing and no quantity picker. That suggests I've missed something. So that allows me to go back and make sure I've added a price so that the product is actually purchasable. So I suspect I've not added a price for that one. And this is the variable product that you saw me set up. So you see we've got drop downs for the size, so you can choose small or large. And when you choose, it shows the price of that variation underneath. So you can filter by category like that, and you can also filter by tags to see products with particular options. You can then go back into the WooCommerce Product Table settings page to make any changes. And I'm going to do a couple of changes now just to show how you can edit the table. I hit the reset button and I now realise that was relevant. So let's go back in and add it again. So to go back, we're going to go to WooCommerce settings, WooCommerce settings, products, and then product tables. You can also access the settings page from the list of plugins, which is how we got there earlier. So I'm going to jump through, and I'm going to add an image column this time. Image, because a lot of restaurants do that, particularly takeaway restaurants. And I'm going to enable the reset button as well. So let's save the changes. And we can also fix any problems we spotted. So for this pizza, let's see. Oh yeah, I did miss out the price. So let's add a price and update. So I'm going to go back to my food ordering page now, and I'm going to refresh the page, and you can see it looks different. Actually quite a lot prettier with the pictures in. So think about whether you want that. And we've added the reset button in. So when we filter now, we can go back to view the full list afterwards. So if you're using filters, probably don't hide the reset button. Whereas you can also have things like search box up here and the number of products in the table at the bottom. But you see it's nice and clean now. I wouldn't bother adding those extra elements. And this pizza is now purchasable because I added the price. So now you can choose quantities, tick what ones you want, choose variations, and you can add them all to the cart. And then you can go to the cart, which is part of WooCommerce itself, view what you're ordering, make changes, and check out. So that is your food ordering system. I'm now going to go back to that page and show you how to create multiple tables of food on the same page, because while you can filter by mains and starter, I don't think that's really the best way to present foods in a restaurant. So let's instead make this page a little bit more sophisticated. So we're going to add a heading block here. So I added this clicked on the little cross, and I'm going to write starters. And we've got the product table shortcode. So I'm going just inside the end of the square bracket, and I'm going to write category equals, and then within straight quotation marks, I'm going to write starter, which is the name of one of the categories I created earlier under products categories. So if you've forgotten what the lowercase word for a category is, just look under there and you'll find it. Next, I'm going to do the same again for mains. So we're going to add another section. So you can do that by adding a little, clicking on the cross up there, and then going heading, and then main courses. And then we're going to add underneath another shortcode, product table, but this time it's category equals mains, which is another of the categories I created. And then we're going to update the page, refresh, and see what it looks like. So now we've got two separate order forms on the same page. Personally, I think that's a much better way to create a food order form. So have a play with it and get it working as you want. And then when you've done that, you want to set up the structure of your WordPress website to make it better. As you can see, there's a load of random things in my menu. That's probably not what I would want. You can edit that by going to hover over the title of the site at the top and go to menus, and I'll show you how to create a menu. So once we've loaded the menu page, you can create a menu. Let's just call it menu, very creative. So create menu. So let's view all of the pages on our site. You can add your home page. I haven't shown you how to do a home page because you'll just want to add whatever content for your restaurant that you want, or an introduction, images, that's up to you. But I'll add the home page, and you can add the content to that via the pages section as you choose. I'm going to add my order food online page to the menu, and that'll probably do for now. Let's keep it really simple. So let's add to menu. And then you need to choose the location to tell the website to display this menu. So we want it to be the primary menu, which appears at the top. If you're not using the storefront theme, you might find that the menu names are something different. So you can make sure in your theme documentation which menu location you want to enable it for. So let's go save menu. And then I'm going to go back to my website here. So this is my home page, which I haven't set up yet. And then we'll go to order food online, like that. If you want, you could actually set this as your home page so that customers can go straight in there and start ordering food. I'll show you how to do that next. And at the same time, I'll show you how to add a logo if you've got a logo for your restaurant, and also how to get rid of or change this text, which obviously is totally not appropriate for a restaurant. It's just added there by default. So we're going to go to the customize link at the top of the page. Let's skip the tour. It really doesn't want us to skip the tour. Click through that. Okay, so in the header, no, in the site identity, you can upload a logo if you want to. You can also edit or just delete the tagline. Let's just call it order food online here, whatever, doesn't matter. So you can see it instantly updates so that you can see at the top. So we're going to go back there, and you can also change things like the colour scheme and that. This is all part of the storefront theme, so your own theme, if you use a different one, might have different styling options, but we're sticking with storefront for now because it's so simple and kind of works for everybody. And the other thing I was going to show you was how to change your homepage. So here we've got homepage settings. We want to display a static page, and then we will choose order food online as our homepage. So let's go publish. And then I'm going to close, after publishing it, I'm going to close that. So if I click home or the logo, it will now take me straight to the order food online page, which means technically I don't actually need this link, which takes me to the same page as home. So feel free to remove that. So keep having a play, adding your foods, and the next step is to think about the delivery options in more detail. The final step that we need to set up with the online food ordering is to add more fine-grained control over the delivery options. How people deliver and collect food is an essential part of any food delivery system, and fortunately WooCommerce has quite good options for that. So we're going to go back into the WordPress admin and go to WooCommerce, Settings, Shipping. And this is where we set the shipping zones, which is the areas that you will deliver to. We're going to, first of all, add a new shipping zone. I'm going to assume that, like a typical restaurant, we have a very focused area, very local to your restaurant, where you offer free delivery. You've got a wider away area, a bit of a wider circle around you where you will charge for delivery, and then you will allow customers to do local pickup wherever they're based. So I'm going to set up those three options so that you know how to do each of them, and you can mix and match those as you need. So let's say we're going to have the free delivery zone. You first of all enter a region, which is your country. This supports any country in the world. And once you've done that, select the limit to specific zip or postcodes. Using the correct format for your country, enter the postcode areas that you'll do the free delivery to. So I'm going to enter PL1 and PL2 because I'm in the PL postal code area, but it also works for zip codes and everything else. And then you click Add Shipping Method, and I'm going to choose free shipping and add shipping method. And then we go back to shipping zones, and we're going to add our second one. So I'm going to click Add Shipping Zone, and I'm going to call it Paid Delivery Zone. I'm going to select United Kingdom again, and again we're going to click Limit to Specific Zip Postcodes, and here we're going to do some further away PL areas, and so on. And so once you've added the areas, one on each line, you click Add Shipping Method. If you want to charge for this zone, this area, then you click Flat Rate, Add Shipping Method, and then you need to click Edit again, which allows you to actually add the price. So I'm going to set 5 for shipping cost, and that will be charged in whatever currency you added when you set up WooCommerce at the beginning. And finally, I'm going to go back to shipping zones, and I'm going to edit the United Kingdom zone that I set up as part of the setup wizard earlier. So I'll click Edit for that. With this one, I'm assuming this is a zone I don't want to deliver to, but I'm going to allow people to place an order if they live there, because of course they can come and collect it. So we're going to delete the flat rate because we're not offering that to this shipping zone. And I click Add Shipping Method, and we'll go for local pickup. And we don't need to be fussy about where people are for local pickup because it's up to them how far to drive. So we've got local pickup, and then back to shipping zones to check this. And it's worth mentioning that this list is hierarchical, which means that if somebody is in more than one shipping zone, for example, you might have messed up your logic and added the same area to both or something, then the first one will be used first. So make sure that the most important relevant shipping zone is at the top of the list, because that will be used first if there's a clash or something. So it's all quite clever. And the next thing we're going to do is install a plugin which allows the customer to choose when they want to receive their order. Delivery slots is really important for online food ordering, because the customer needs to know when to expect their meal to arrive. Often they want to choose a particular time for it to come, so allowing them to choose that in an automated way on your WooCommerce checkout will be a lot easier for you. So to do that, we need the WooCommerce Delivery Slots plugin by Iconic WP, which I installed earlier. So you can see that here. There's a link in the description below the video on how to get that plugin. So once you install it for the first time, it will ask you to put in your license key, just like we did for Product Table a minute ago, and that will activate the plugin and make sure you can access updates and support and everything later. So once you've done that, we want to go into the plugin settings. So we're going to go WooCommerce, and you'll see delivery slots here. So the dashboard tab you don't really need to do much with, so we'll ignore that. Look through the general settings and just choose whatever works for you. You can choose which of your options that will apply to. So when we set the different shipping methods earlier, you can see them listed here. If you want, the delivery slots can apply to some of those and not others, but I'm going to assume that we want that for all of it. And you can also exclude specific products and categories. So you can allow customers to choose date and or time settings for any or all of your orders, basically. On the date settings, choose whether the customer has to select a date. I would suspect you would nearly always tick that for online food ordering. If you're closed on particular days, like maybe you're closed on Sunday and Monday, then you can indicate that so that they can't, so they can order on a Sunday if they want, but they know that they can't receive that delivery until you're open again on the Tuesday. So it allows you to accept orders all the time, but you only actually have to deliver when you're open, which is very important for restaurants. And there's quite clever logic you can use so that it will let people choose from available days and so on. So go through all that. You can even charge extra fees for specific days. So let's say you do order on a Sunday, you do accept orders, but you want to get a bit of a premium for the inconvenience, then you can add an extra fee that would be charged on a Sunday, for example. Even more important to restaurants, I would say, would be the time settings, because often people order their takeaway foods or their restaurant meals on the same day that they want to receive it. So even if you don't use date settings, you will certainly want time slots. So enable that, choose a time format. ASAP delivery is quite nice, because most people that order restaurant food online just want to receive the food as soon as it's ready. So it might be a 15-minute wait, it might be an hour. That's so ASAP means that they don't have to select a specific time slot, and that makes it a bit easier for you to manage as well, because you don't have to commit to a certain time. You can even charge a fee for that ASAP if you want, and what time is the latest you'll accept that. You can also choose how many minutes before the slot they select. So let's say they want to order for 5 o'clock delivery. You might want to have a cut off of 4:30 to make sure you've got that half an hour to get the food sorted. So you can do all of that, all of which is very relevant to restaurants. So once you've done it, you save the settings page, and then let's go to save that. Our website again. So I'm going to go back to the website, and I'm going to show you what those shipping options look like in the front end from the customer's perspective. So we're going to choose a couple of foods, add them to the cart, and then we can click on the view cart link. So this is our basket, and this time we're going to click all the way through to the checkout. This is the WooCommerce checkout. It's all provided by the free WooCommerce plugin until you get lower down. And then at this point, you get to the delivery details section where you've got some extra fields added by the WooCommerce delivery slots plugin. So you can select a delivery date. In my settings, I've chosen it to accept current day delivery or up to 1 day in the future. But a lot of restaurants don't accept orders a week from now, do they? So I didn't select that. So let's say I want delivery today, ASAP. Or let's say I want delivery tomorrow. That's got some time slots available. So the customer can choose that and make sure they get what they want. It then updates the totals and everything, depending on my area that I've entered up in the delivery details. It will charge the correct rate and give me the correct options for my shipping zone. So WooCommerce and its own shipping methods combined with the iconic WP's delivery slots plugin gives you pretty much all the delivery options that you would want for a restaurant. There's also this bit part of WooCommerce, an order notes section. So if somebody did want to say that they were had particular allergies or something like that, then that's all there as well. Finally, I'm going to show you how to create a proper website address for your site, because as we've done it so far, it ends with whatever you chose plus .kinster.cloud, which isn't ideal. So to do a professional domain name for your website, you need to buy a domain name from a company such as 123reg, which we use. So go to something like 123reg.co.uk or godaddy.com or whatever, and search for the domain name and buy it. Once you've bought it, you'll be able to manage it from the control panel of your domain name registrar. I like 123reg because it's really easy to use and you can use it wherever you are in the world, but it's up to you. It makes no difference where you buy your domain from as long as it's a reputable company. So back in the Kinster dashboard, this is our web hosting dashboard where we created the site in the first place. We need to get the IP address of where the website lives, and then we're going to point the domain to it. So we're going to go to info in the install within Kinster, and you'll see here site IP address, and we're just going to click copy. And then you go into the registrar for your domain name, and I'm just going to do this for a random domain name that we own, which is that one. So we're going to click manage, and I'm going to show you how to add the IP address that we just copied, which is the location of your website on the internet. And so we go to manage DNS, and then we want to go to the advanced DNS setting. If you're not using 123reg, it will look different to this, but that's okay. You just need to find the DNS section where you edit the DNS record. And we want to find an A record that looks something like an @ or it might be a star. What that means is it's the kind of the root of that domain name, which might be like myrestaurant.com or something. So what we do is we edit it, and we're going to get rid of whatever's in the destination or target and enter the one that we just copied from Kinster. And make sure there's the one that's called www as well. So it's an A record, but instead of @ or star, add www and enter the correct IP address there and save it. And it will generally take a little while. It might even take a couple of hours or something for that to populate across the internet. It may not work straight away, and that's normal. Worst cases, it can take 48 hours, but it usually wouldn't take that long. So make sure you do that in plenty of time of when you need to go live. So here we have pointed your website address, like myrestaurant.com or something, to the location of your website. On the other side of it, in your actual website, you need to make sure your hosting company knows that your domain name is pointing to it so that it will make it work. So now we go into domains. This is within the Kinster dashboard again, and we click add domains. And what am I doing? So right, myrestaurant.com or whatever your domain name is. Click add domains with and without www. Technically that means that you didn't really need this, so it won't do any harm, but you don't actually need to use both methods because this on its own will make the www work. So go myrestaurant.com, don't add HTTP or HTTPS or anything like that, and then click add domains. And that tells Kinsta that when your domain name, your website address points to Kinsta, it tells Kinsta that your website is the website which should appear on that domain. I know that's really technical, but you don't need to understand it. You just need to set it up correctly and ask your hosting company or your domain name registrar for advice if you get stuck on this, because it is quite a technical area. I'm not going to finish off the process because I don't need to, but just wait for it to finish doing, and then just wait a few hours, and then your website will go live at that domain name. And the final thing as well is that you need your website to be secure. You've probably noticed these days nearly all websites have HTTPS at the start, and there's often a padlock symbol or a green padlock in the browser address bar at the very top of your screen, and that means that the website is encrypted and secure, and that is now recommended for all websites. If you're using a good hosting company like Kinsta, you can do that really easily. And so let's go into the tools section. If you're using a different host, it will be different, but that's okay. Just ask them how to set up an SSL certificate. So an SSL certificate is what makes your website load in an encrypted format at HTTPS instead of just HTTP, which is not secure. So you click enable HTTPS, click generate free SSL certificate, tick all the domains that you've added within your account. You want to tick www and the non-www version because you're using both, and then click generate certificate. And that will probably take a couple of minutes, and when it finishes loading, your website will be secure and fully encrypted. And if you still get any insecure content warnings at the top of your browser address bar, then talk to your hosting company and they'll be able to advise you on why. And that's it. In 50 minutes, you have watched me set up a complete website with a full e-commerce online ordering system for food. And you can watch what I've done so that you can do the same. You can see how we've added products. You can list them in a one-page order form so that people can quickly tick what foods they require, choose different options, quantities, add them to their cart, and they can then complete their purchase and pay online using PayPal, credit card, cash on delivery. They can also choose from different delivery options depending on their location. They can choose delivery dates and delivery time slots and add extra notes about their order. I've shown you how to set up web hosting, which will keep your website online, how to encrypt your website with an SSL certificate so that it will be secure, and I've also shown you how to create a proper domain name for your website address. So that really is everything that you need for a professional online food ordering system. To build your own, you need to get WordPress, which is the free content management system, and your hosting company should be able to install that for you. You need the free WooCommerce plugin, and you also need 2 paid plugins: WooCommerce Product Table by us at Barn2 and WooCommerce Delivery Slots by Iconic WP. I'll put links to all of those below this video in the description so that you can go ahead and build your own unique WooCommerce ordering system just like this one.